The events in North Korea are just momentous in South Korea. It really is the fall of the Berlin Wall all over again, or we'll call it the Bamboo Wall. But this actually was a shooting war with 35,000 US dead that is now really coming to an end. I think that it's important for us to think of this agreement or of this negotiation, this discussion, not as a negotiation, but as a conversion. Negotiation, you hew to your position, the other side to its, and you exchange concessions, and you settle for something less than you wanted. It's a zero-sum game. But here I think that North Korea, as I mentioned in a video a few days ago and a friend of mine suggested, is like a crime family. And the grandfather passed to the father, who passed to the son, and they've had their inheritance as this increasingly poor country. And I think, like any mafia gang, they've decided, hey guys, now it's time to make some money. And they look over the border at South Korea and see what they've achieved and they're capable of. And the lure really is significant. And as with many conversions, this is militated by necessity, because the economic sanctions that have been imposed on North Korea are so crippling that they not only preclude any notion of economic growth, they really preclude the notion of any larceny. You can't steal money if you have no money. And increasingly his military will be out of gas and out of oil. And it'll just be impossible for him to maintain this threat credibly. It's not a situation like it was in Iran, where they have to lift the sanctions in order to permit the country to function and not have a revolution and all of that. Here, it's simply that his military capacity would be ended by the sanctions because of the inability to fuel his forces with gasoline and oil. That's why they had to stay idle during this whole month of parades that they usually have in February. And I think that the allure of capitalism, the willingness of the US to enter into a genuine normalization with Korea, is very important in Kim's thinking. But I think that ultimately, the real security here is the reunification of the Koreas. If South Korea had the bomb, I don't think anybody would mind. In fact, I've advocated that as a deterrent to North Korea. And if you can merge those countries, which there certainly is now momentum to do, the massive population advantage and wealth disparity of the North and the South would make it look very much like West and East Germany. The one would simply be absorbed into the other. And you can make it very possible for the Kim family to be very rich and very powerful and have an important titular position. And in fact, as he wins our trust and as he begins to function like a normal leader, a potentially active position. So I think there are so many possibilities here, but let's always remember that the reason these doors have opened to us after 70 years of fruitless negotiation is the strength of the Trump administration. Without that threat, without those sanctions, as comprehensive as they are, this would never happen. Today's Lunch Alert is sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group. Recently, China announced that as a result of the huge U.S. debt and deficit, it's curtailing its purchases of U.S. bonds and therefore curtailing the lending of money to us. And Japan already has big problems of its own and needs to dump every penny they can into funding their own debt. So when you hear that the United States now owes $25 trillion in debt, more than every other part of our history combined, more than any other nation in the world, more than all other nations in the world combined, we have to wonder if they're going to continue to lend us money. The bottom line is that all of the major sources of revenue or of lending for our government have dried up. We've stopped quantitative easing because we can't afford to do more of it. And Russia and China and Japan are curtailing their purchases of our bonds. The stock market has only had 3 occasions where it has sky-high valuations higher than they are now. 1929, 2000, and 2008. And they are respectively the starts of the Great Depression, the dot-com bubble, and the Great Recession. So it might be safer to put your money into gold. That's why since the first of the year, gold has gone up, even as the Dow has gone down. So call the Patriot Gold Group at the number on the screen, or get in touch with them via internet at patriotgoldgroup.com. Thanks for watching.